Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're doing something, well, kind of wild, with a seriously intense piece of source material. We're looking at the transcript from Titmouse's brilliantly gritty animated short, Pinched. If you've read it, you know it's fragmented, it's dark, and it is a heavy dive into human psychology. But today, we're going to decode these themes through a totally different lens. Think, same but different characters in 3D Pixar style. Seriously, we're going to imagine our main guy Jack and the chaotic voices in his head as bright, expressive 3D Pixar-style avatars. By taking these heavy, gritty themes and visualizing them with a polished, accessible aesthetic, we can unpack the sheer depth of this story in a completely fresh way.
Right off the bat, I want to hit you with this incredibly menacing quote from the source material. Desire pulls the strings around here. Just let that sink in for a second. Desire pulls the strings. This single line sets up the absolute core of our explainer today. We're exploring the terrifying reality of being controlled by an unseen internal force. Jack isn't just navigating a tough life, he is quite literally a puppet in his own mind, battling an antagonist that no one else can even see. Okay, let's dive into this. We'll start by going inside a chaotic mind, then look at how desire pulls the strings, examine the real-world fallout, and finally, wrap up with seeking amends and recovery.
All right, part one, inside a chaotic mind.
So to really process this, we're leaning into that same but different approach. In the gritty reality of the text, Jack is an addict battling an internal demon, and he's completely alienating his friends, like Nikki and Rachel. But I want you to picture these characters as highly polished, big-eyed 3D animated figures. Why? Well, viewing this severe reality through a softer 3D Pixar lens creates a bit of cognitive distance for us. It highlights the humanity underneath all that grit. It just makes it easier for us to deeply analyze this incredibly dark story without getting totally overwhelmed by the bleakness of the whole shebang.
And then there's the word heat. It pulses frantically through the narrative. Heat, 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 heat. It just invades the dialogue completely out of nowhere. Picture a brightly colored, cartoonish pressure cooker literally bursting at the seams. That heat is the sensory overload of Jack's mind. It's the inescapable noise of a brain that absolutely will not let its host rest. It is the pressure. It's the craving.
Moving on to part two, desire pulls the strings.
Enter King Red. In our 3D animated world, imagine him as a sleek, imposing, super fast-talking villain. In the text, he actually calls Jack brother Lord and begs Jack to find a key to set him free. We really need to explicitly decode this, because King Red is the personification of addiction and intrusive thoughts. He's an internal demon. And that key he wants Jack to find? Yeah, that's the next fix. It's the ultimate lie of addiction wrapped in grand promises, basically assuring Jack that if he just makes a couple of the right moves, all their dreams could come true.
And this brilliantly illustrates Jack's tragic disconnect. In his internal world, Jack is on this epic quest. He's talking to chained demons, hunting for mythical keys, fighting a cosmic battle. But contrast that epic internal fantasy with his external reality. The text brutally points out that Jack is a guy who, quote, sleeps under a bridge every night freezing his batty ass off and owes people money. The contrast between the metaphorical internal battle Jack perceives and the sad, gritty external reality he's actually living is just absolutely heartbreaking.
Which brings us to part three, the real-world fallout. The tangible collateral damage here is devastating. Jack is sleeping under a bridge every single night. He's bumping into friends and immediately realizing he owes them money. He's deeply alienating a woman named Nikki. And crucially, he's pinching, stealing from Rachel. This internal demon, King Red, demands total focus, systematically isolating Jack from every single node of his support system. It's like the voice actively punishes Jack for interacting with the real world.
Listen to this quote from Nikki. Are you talking to me now or to one of your little friends? Ouch, right? Jack is mumbling to the voices in his head while standing right in front of her. This perfectly captures his tragic, visible detachment. I mean, he's physically present, sure, but mentally, he is miles and miles away, arguing with King Red. Nikki's frustration shows just how completely disconnected he appears to everyone around him.
Finally, part four, seeking amends and recovery.
Let's move to and see how this builds, tracing this beautiful arc of redemption. In the past, Jack pinched an item from Rachel by accident, acting entirely under King Red's influence, of course. But in the present, he makes a massive leap. He finds Rachel and actually takes accountability, saying, "Sorry I pinched it, I should have known." This sets up a future where he commits to staying on the right path.
He's stepping out of the epic delusion of his mind and doing the incredibly unglamorous, humbling work of apologizing in the real world.
And that brings us to his incredibly powerful final quote from Jack. Rachel asks him if he's still involved with his, well, she doesn't even want to say it out loud. And Jack stumbles. He says, "Oh, that? No. No, I'm all good with that. I mean, no, I'm better now." The hesitation in that line is so real, isn't it? You can almost hear King Red scratching at the back of his mind. But Jack pushes through it. He asserts that he is healing. He actively rejects the voice of desire. He acknowledges the fragility of his state. He's not perfect, but he is better now. It's a grounded, deeply human victory.
Which leaves us with this final thought to consider. The story of Jack and King Red might be a really extreme depiction of addiction and mental struggle. But you know, the core concept is pretty universal. We all have a version of King Red, right? Intrusive thoughts, bad habits, compulsions that try to tell us what to do. So when desire pulls the strings in your own life, how do you cut them? How do you take back control? It's a heavy question for sure, but as Jack showed us, the first step is stepping out of your own head and back into the real world. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.